Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Front Door Show. As you know, I do this every day, 8 o'clock. And today I have my good friend, DJ Cubanito, Alex Carmenetes. How you doing, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, very good. For you guys, just in
I feel
case,
very blessed that we're both healthy.
yes, I agree. And we've known each other for quite a long time. So,
Many years.
so let's make sure we keep it that way. Yeah, long time. And just in case people don't know who you are, if you can give a little intro, I just want to make sure that people know who you are. So if you can, please, go ahead and give your intro and websites and so forth. Right.
So that's the worst thing that you can ask me because I don't like to talk too much about myself. But okay, I guess sure. This is an interview, and since I don't have a profile there or anything, all right, let's do it. What can I say about myself? DJ Cubanito, that's not my original name. I've been in the business, as you know, for over 40 years now.
Yep.
So I've gone through different names, previous to DJ Cubanito was Alex C. And I kind of made a name through my work here in Houston, through radio stations and helping you guys in Chicago spread the house music in Houston. I was the first DJ to play house music here in Houston, and promoted it and pushed it and brought artists over here to perform. And it had a radio station where I was given the liberty to play all the house music that I wanted to. At that time, it was freestyle music that was being played here in Houston, and in the Latin clubs, and in the American clubs, it was new wave.
Mm-hmm.
It was either new wave or hip hop.
What part of Texas are we talking about?
Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Houston, Texas. That's the fourth largest city in the United States. It's New York, LA, Chicago, and Houston.
Okay.
So we have about 4 million people here in Houston.
Woo.
6 million in the metropolitan area, including all the surrounding cities.
All right. So here's kind of the most obvious question.
Yeah.
How did you know about house music? Let's get from the very background. I mean, are you originally from Chicago, or what's up with that?
No. So okay, so I was in a record pool called the Mix Record Pool that was run by a gentleman named Sam Myers. Sam Myers was the pool director. He was basically the guy. Him and Ram Roca started the record pool in the 70s.
Wow.
77, 78, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And then I came to Houston. I was in Tampa. I was in Tampa, Florida. And I was in a record pool over there. And I was working at a radio station as an intern. And very young, very, very young. So in 1979, I moved to Houston, and big city. I didn't know anybody. I had to start from scratch. But the one thing that I did is go to the record pool here. I knew that every city had a record pool. Houston had to have a record pool. I found out where the record pool was, went to see them, joined the record pool. To make a long story short, I became the assistant record pool director after a few years, many years, 6 or 7 years, and actually became the pool director for a period of time that Sam Myers fell ill. I ran that record pool.
Okay.
And so through that record pool, I traveled to New York. I went to all the winter music conferences in Miami. I went representing, and I went to the New York, what was it? I forget what it was. It was called
You talk about before Winter Music
Yeah,
Conference.
before the Winter Music Conference, there was a seminar. Is the
Right, right,
New York's dance music seminar,
right.
which was put together by uh, Tom from Tommy Boy Records, Tom
Correct.
Silverman, and some associates. They put that thing together over there. So I met a lot of I met a lot of kids over there in New York. I met uh, Bad Boy Bill, Mike Hidman Wilson, Julian Jumping Perez, um, uh, hell,
Mickey,
I met
Mickey Oliver.
I met all the guys, Kenny Jason,
Right, right.
Farley. I met our friend mm,
Benji Espinosa.
Benji Spinoza. I mean, all those people.
Right,
And,
right,
and so and so at the same time that all those records from I met Marshall Jefferson,
right.
became friends with Marshall Jefferson. Um, this crazy guy, Latino guy. They're all mostly all Latinos, but I forget their names now. He's crazy. You know him. Work for the radio station. Crazy dude. I love him. He's still around. Met Mario, Ralphie,
Right, right. Rafael Rosario. Yes.
all those guys, over there. And so, even though I was playing all the music from the freestyle, and I knew those cats, and I promoted it to the record pool, I had an affinity for house music. As soon as I heard it, I said, there's something here. I like it. So, I was on the radio playing music that nobody here knew. You used to hold me. Uh, all the Funky Knuckle stuff that he was making, and all the other guys, Hercules, and you know all that stuff. Tony Sanini, all the classes. There wasn't anything that I didn't play from Chicago because I was in tune with Chicago and the guys. And I was talking on the phone with Mike Hipman Wilson and some of the other guys and Benji. Just hey, what do you got? Oh, I got this brand new record from Fast Eddie. Oh yeah, you're gonna send that? Yeah, man, you'll have it. I'm gonna send you the white label. So I would have the white label. I'd be the first one to hear play. Not that it mattered because nobody was playing it, But yeah, I got it, and as soon as I got it that weekend, boom, it was on the turntable, and it was and people could hear it on Kakuruka. So I got comments because Sam Myers, the guy from the pool, the guy who owned the pool, he one day called me. He's like, he didn't call me. We like over the weekend, and then we went to the pool the next weekday. Wednesday is when we went to work, and he said to me, "Hey, I was listening to your mix show. By the way, my mix show was #1 Arbitron rated mix show in the city of Houston, at least 1 year." So
I bet with all the music that nobody ever heard.
everybody was going crazy. I'm telling you, and then Sam Myers. I went back to work with him in the office, and he goes, "Hey, I was listening to your mix show this weekend. What the hell is that crap you're playing?"
he must be really old.
He's older. He's older than me. So he said, "What the hell?" So I said, "What do you mean?" I was playing dumb, What do you mean? I play some good music, Sam. What are you talking about? And he says, "Yeah, man, it's like, it's like really, really just beats and a bass line. There's nothing else. And you're having to scratch on top of it and throw samples on top of it. I can tell you're doing that just to make it good." So yeah, he was critical of house music at first, especially.
I think in every generation, I call it the uncles making comments about the music of the young people. And I'm sure we kind of did the same thing with the younger people's music now. It's just everybody has their, their taste.
Yeah.
And let's say, Sam was probably maybe 10, 15 years older than you.
Yeah.
And he was probably saying, for him, he didn't get it. But at our age, we got it.
Exactly. But what was funny was that other DJs my age were not getting it either, because they were stuck in their groove,
Well, I mean, and that's the difference between, let's say, you or me, because we've seen the bigger picture. Whereas a lot of DJs, and that's why we are where we're at today, honestly.
And let me tell you, I was not the only DJ at that moment that play house music here in Houston. There was one other guy. That played music, house music, and he loved it. And I would go to his club and listen to him. And we talk shop and stuff. So
Right. I mean, yeah, but there was maybe a handful that get it.
Not even. I'm telling you the truth. I am telling you, two guys. Then after about a year or so, then I started hearing from guys that were here in the city that had come from Chicago and they had come from New York, and they like contacted me. He said, "Man, you're jamming on the really? Yeah, I'm from New York. I'm from Chicago." I started meeting the cats.
Okay.
They have the same access that I had to radio station and whatnot. And so I supported their scene. They were having like house parties and stuff. I would show up, and play a set, and they would announce, "Hey, Alex C from KQQK 106.5, he's coming in this week, the flyer, And I would support the Filipino parties, the guys from Chicago. And see, there was a guy from Chicago that he came from Chicago. His name was John Serrano, and he joined the record pool, and he went by the name of John Jamming Serrano. He loved Chicago music. He was playing it at his parties and whatnot, his little Filipino parties. And so we started hanging out. We started talking. I went to his house. We went to eat tacos, after the clubs, whatnot. And he was like, "Man, I wish I could get on the radio. I love to play." I said, "Dude, listen to this. In Chicago, don't they have the mix what was it? The
Hot Mix 5.
Mix 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah." I said, what if we do a team here in Houston? We do a team just like Chicago. And so he said he liked the idea. It was his brother. And then I had a friend of mine and two other guys that I thought were really good DJs that were ahead of their time and they were progressive enough. So we talked to all the guys, and it was 5 of us. And then John's came up with the name, the Mixmaster 5. It wasn't that creative, but
yeah, they keep it within that realm.
Yeah, it kind of, he wanted to do the thing that they did in Chicago. He's kind of like, "Yeah, let's do the thing in Chicago." So I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it." So I spoke to the radio station and exposed the idea to them, and they say, "Yeah, go ahead. I mean, that'll give us more variety because I have 4 hours, 4 hours to kill on Friday and Saturday."
Right.
So, the mixes were like 20 minutes each. And then there were segments of 10 minutes and 50, commercial breaks and stuff.
Right.
So we could alternate the DJs, and the whole thing was pre-recorded. It wasn't live. So we each did it in the studio, and I had to take the reels all the way to almost Galveston, from Houston to Galveston, like 45 minutes every weekend. So Friday I would take the 4 reels for Friday, and then I would also drop off the 4 reels for Saturday. That's how we used to do it. And so I made a name for myself as Alex C.
Right. So I understand that part. How did,
we're talking 1989,
right,
1987, 19 around
right,
there.
right. That's when the explosion of Chicago dance music was big with, well, where Benji was very prominent and the whole distribution of the, Fast Eddie, Jumbo, all
Right.
that was the
And
heart. That was the
Trax Records.
Trax Records as well, with Larry Sherman. God rest his soul. He just passed away this year. So
Screaming
yep,
Rachel,
yep.
and Candy J.
Yep. All the, tons of Chicago dance tracks. Tons of,
But don't get me wrong. I was playing house music before that.
right.
I wasn't on the radio to be able to play it on the radio, but I was playing it, in clubs.
So I guess my question is, where's your connection? Okay, I understand there's a house connection, but how do you end up with the record pool? I guess now, because in Edgar Martinez's interview, he talks about you. So how's the connection of you coming to Chicago or being part of the record pool with Chicago, or how did that happen, or what was that about?
Okay, all right. So it's a long story too.
We got time.
I'll try to make it short because I don't want to bore people, especially with record pools that are on me. Nobody knows what the hell is a record pool,
Well, just no.
DJs.
Because, yeah, honestly, because I think record pool is a big factor when it comes to dance music
It is.
and Latin music and record pool. If we didn't have record pools, that was before YouTube, before Facebook, before it was the way people got their music was record pools. That was
Exactly.
If you're telling me record pool wasn't the most important thing to music, oh my God.
Yeah, no. If you weren't a member of the record pool, you were not a DJ.
Correct.
You were not a DJ because you couldn't. I mean, you could be a DJ if you bought your records, but it will cost you $300 to $400 a week. You know that, to be up to date. But the membership for the record pool was $50.
$50 a month, right?
$50 a month. Now, if you wanted to get DiscoNet, which was a DJ remix service,
yep,
or Hot Tracks, or Razor Maids, or Cold Cuts, whatever. There were many, but DiscoNet was the best one, and Hot Tracks. So if you wanted to get those two, you have to pay extra. You have to pay $25 because the service was it cost the record pool half of that.
Right.
Per record, because they were pressing it. So all right. So what happened was that Sam was getting to the point where the people were losing interest in vinyl because it was the age of CDs. So DJs were making a transition, okay? And so, I went my way. I went basically into the Latin world. I left the dance thing, and I actually had a radio show on the same radio station that I did the mix shows at, but this was a Sunday night show, and it was 4 hours. And this time I was the DJ on the air, and I played tropical music. I played salsa, merengue, bachata, some cumbias, and maybe one or two reggaeton. I will play El General. El General came to Houston because of my show.
Nice.
And later I made a big friendship with El General. And we brought him several times to Houston. But the first time that El General came to Houston, it was because I was playing it on my show. And my show was the second rated radio show in the city. Because we used to do sketches like the morning shows. We used to do personalities, voices, all kinds, to do like a morning show, but on Sunday night.
Okay.
And
So,
people used to think that the show was coming from Puerto Rico.
about what year was this going on that you had the show on Sunday? What year was that?
This was I'm thinking maybe 89,
Okay.
89.
Okay.
And they went on for a couple of years, at least 2 or 3 years. I had gone to work in New York. I went to work at New York. That's what happened. It wasn't that great being here now in Houston. I needed to grow, and so I moved to New York. A friend of mine gave me a lead, and I got a job in a club in New York. So I went to New York to live in New York, and I started working for this company in New York, which was Juliana's. And Juliana's had DJs all over the world. So I went to New York. So when I came back from New York is when I did the mix shows, because the mix shows, the New York gig opened the doors for me here in Houston.
Okay.
They just opened the doors for me. Coming back from New York, hey, you're a DJ. You made it in New York. You must be a good DJ. So, I was the same guy. Hey, I was the same guy. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have gotten the gig in New York if it wasn't because my friend came to visit from New York, and he came into my studio, and I was doing the scratching and playing records backwards and all this, triplets and repetitions and all that. And my friend says, "Man, what are you doing here? Where are you working at?" I said, "I'm working happy hour at such and such place." He goes, "Man, you're wasting your time here. You should be in New York." I said, "Yeah, but I don't know anybody in New York." He goes, "I'll try to get you a job, and you need to be in New York. That's where you need to be." So actually, I went to New York. But when I come back, then all these other things started, and I was already working at the pool then, in the American pool. So when I came back, then that's when the mix show started. And from the American mix shows at KQK, which is a Latin station, I went to work at Energy 96.5, which was a rhythm station under the PD of Steve Smith.
Okay.
Which is, big PD. When that job ended, I went back to Cacucuca and started the Latin show, Salsa Mania. Salsa Mania. And I had a partner, his name was Ricky. Ricky, se me olvida el apellido, Peña, Ricky Peña. Good friend of mine. And so we did that show for a few years. And then the PD offered me the music director position at the radio station because my show was influencing the whole Tejano scene here in Houston. Tejano groups were covering the salsa songs, making them into Tejano. You have been Devórame otra vez.
What year was this that this was all happening? That's what the Salsa Mania.
90, 91.
Okay.
So people are going crazy with the music I'm playing. I'm playing Juan Luis Guerra, La Pecera, Mojado en Ti. I'm playing all that. Quisiera ser un pez, that one.
Right.
And I'm playing El General. I'm playing Nino Segarra. Nino Segarra gave me this. The company gave me this one here for fighting to make his song like huge. He came over. He did gigs. He did gigs like crazy. I broke his record here on that station, and so that opened the door to that, and I became the music director at Cacucuca. And then I got married. That's when I got married.
That always does it. That always does it.
Hey, dude, you know how long I was out of the industry? 7 years. 7 years. But I was like,
all right,
like that.
So you got that 7-year itch, as they say.
So I talked to her. Let me tell you what happened, and I'll go back to the record pool and Marroquín, guy. So I went to Sam's pool was kind of fading, but out of respect, I said to Sam, I'm thinking about opening a Latin record pool. It's not going to conflict with you. I'm not going to ask any company, American company, to service me. I'm not going to go after any of your DJs because that was the holy grail. I mean, the holy sanctimonian kind of sin, ultimate sin, to go after members of another pool.
Right. You just didn't do that.
You didn't do that. That's not ethical. That was looked upon very bad.
Right.
So,
and people talk to each other in that industry.
Of course. And so, out of respect, because he's the one who opened the door for me and did everything that we were pals. I mean, we were brothers, he's like a big brother to me. So out of respect, I said, hey, I'm not going to mess with your pool. And I knew that he was fading out. But I'm not going to mess with the pool. Can I have your blessing to open my Latin record pool? And he said, yes, of course. So got an office, opened my Latin pool, and I just got in at the right time, Angelo, at the right time. That's what happened, to be in the right place at the right time,
Yep.
Because I was probably the third record pool in the nation. There was a record pool in New York.
You're talking about Latin record pool.
Latin record pools, yes.
Right. Okay.
We're talking about after 25 years, record pools have been in existence already.
Right.
But Latin pools, none.
Right.
Then there was a record pool in New York, which I knew about, and there was another record pool in Miami with Raymond Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Raymond Hernandez.
Is that Sonidos, Nudos? Majestic. Okay, yes.
Majestic. And then the pool that was in New York was the one with oh my God, I'm forgetting. I'm getting old.
Welcome to the club.
But he was a big DJ in New York. He was a big DJ. The two of them were big.
You're talking about Latin DJ?
Yeah, Latin DJs. And he was a remixer. He was a big remixer and big Latin DJ over there in New York.
You're not talking about Byron, right?
No.
God, now you got me. Jelly Bean?
It's going to come to me. No,
okay.
More Latin than Jelly Bean.
Okay,
more Latin than Jelly Bean.
All right.
So, oh my God, I got it on the tip of my tongue. It's going to come. So anyway, they were the first ones. And then I decided to open mine. And when I opened mine, I started talking to all the labels, I contacted all the labels. I went to Miami, visited the labels. They already knew the concept. They said, this is great. We need the help. Let's do it. The music was not so focused at that time on radio as they didn't have the system down. So they loved the idea that club DJs will be supporting it. So what did I do? I diversified. I had 50 DJs here in Houston, and I was thinking big. I said, I'm gonna go open in Chicago. So I opened a record pool in Chicago with a DJ that I knew, a DJ that was presented to me by a label representative. He said, yeah, there's a DJ that I service over there in Chicago. I said, what's his name? Oh yeah, his name is Edgardo Marroquín, and he knows everybody, blah, blah, blah. I said, good, because if he knows everybody, he knows all those DJs over there, he's the perfect guy. I'm gonna put the money, I'm gonna get I had all the contacts. All I had to do is tell the labels, hey, I'm opening one in Chicago. And that's what happened. As soon as I told the labels I was opening one in Chicago, They gave me their blessing because they needed that in Chicago.
Right.
So, but Chicago was not the first satellite office that I opened. The first one that I opened was Atlanta.
Okay.
I opened one in Atlanta with Elmer Pineda, which was a radio DJ over there. The same thing. He was like an anchor Marroquin. He was the guy over there in Atlanta. And there was another guy in Washington. His name was El Gringo Loco, James Gill. So I hooked up with James Gill and I opened one in Washington. Well, in Washington, there's like 30 DJs there. In Atlanta, there was like 20 DJs there. And I hooked up with Marroquin in Chicago, and there was like 50 DJs there. And then I hooked up another one in Montreal in Canada. There was like 20 DJs over there. And the last one was in LA. So altogether, at the peak, at the height, it was like 6 different branches and over 200 DJs.
Wow.
So I was the biggest record pool in America, the biggest Latin record pool in America.
So that was more than the guys in Miami and New York then, am I correct?
Bigger than they were,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I respected the territories. I didn't go get DJs in Miami. I didn't go get DJs in New York. I stayed in my boundaries.
And at the same time, you were still going to the Winter Music Conference, am I correct?
Yeah. All this time I was going to look. I did everything that you can imagine. I've been a record producer. I've been a remixer. I've been a journalist. I worked at radio. It's a long trajectory.
Right.
So back to the record pool thing. I had a lot on my plate, and there was no way that I could control it all. And it was a matter of trusting everybody.
Correct.
Because I would come to Chicago 3 times a year. That's it. And I would go to Atlanta 3 times a year. All the same thing. Every few months I go. And then I would go to the Winter Music Conference all the time because I was a fixture over there, and because I was a journalist, they offer me panelist positions. Then I became a moderator at the Winter Music Conference where I put the panel together.
Right, but you were dealing, because during the Winter Music Conference, I don't think a lot of people understood that there was a Latin panel in the Winter Music Conference. So because you were part of the Latin scene, and still there was the connection, because people that's how, like Tito Puente Jr., when we were talking about with him, is that there were a lot of people from New York. Yes, they were into the dance music, but they still had the Latin roots, and that was kind of their connections. And
right,
obviously there's the connection that how the dance scene still had the Latin scene, and exactly. Kind of vice versa.
Exactly. No, I had all the dance connections still there, because I never stopped playing dance music. You know that. If you're in a Latin club, you play dance music too.
Mm-hmm.
You play salsa, merengue, whatever, but you throw in the dance set. It could be 15 minutes, 2 15-minute sets, but you still playing dance music, and you got to play the latest stuff.
Right.
So the dance connection was still there, and because I had those dance connections with Bill Kelly, then I joined forces with Joe Granda.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Granda was in Miami. He was a big promoter over there, Latin promoter. He's done so much for the Latin world, for the Latin music world. And
wasn't he a manager of some famous groups as well?
Yes. He managed several groups. And he had connections with, Gloria Estefan and Ricky Martin, and he helped with the Grammys. He was involved in the Grammys, everything. So he wanted very much to do stuff with the clubs and the DJs.
Right.
So when it was just the obvious, the obvious collaboration.
Right.
When we started discussing things, it was like, yeah, come on, we got to do this. It's gonna better the industry. and it's gonna help our pockets. So that's the way that happened. And I don't know if you remember, but you participated in the panels.
Right.
Because
No. I remember.
I knew you for so long, and I said, "Damn, I gotta have Angelo in my panel." He's got to bring in his flavor from Chicago.
Right, because I was kind of in what you were doing out in Houston with the dancing. I kind of was doing it here in Chicago already.
Exactly.
And then the other aspect that I was not just doing it with the dance and not the Latin, but I also had the gay scene here as well.
The same here, bro. you know how this business rolls. So you have to dwell in all those things. I worked in gay clubs.
Yep.
That's where I worked.
Yep. And money. It was great money.
The better money was in the gates. They treated you great and all that. So that's what happened. And so I was involved in so many things, and things were going so fast that I kind of like lost control. And I lost two of the offices. I lost two of the offices for not being able to manage them personally. Right. And by the time I look around and I turn around and see what's going on, they don't belong to me anymore. They belong to the people that I had collaborated with. And all my office equipment, everything. And that a business is who you know. So all the contacts, that's really, the record pools is who you know. And I'm the guy who started it. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. For a minute you're kind of upset. That something like that happened. But I throw it on my shoulders because I say it's my fault. It's my fault. I was careless, Mm-hmm. So years later, not that I couldn't forgive people, that I've always forgiven people. I don't hold grudges, and I have a lot of pleasure forgiving my enemies. So I went up to this gentleman, Edgar, and I said, "Look, man, whatever happened, and let's put it in the past. Right. Now let's work together." So we started collaborating. We started working together. I don't hold any grudges. I supported him just like I would support anybody else.
Right.
So that chapter is closed there because it's all good.
Right. No,
we
gave you
about other things.
He gave you credit on his in his interview and stuff like that. That's why I asked you if you didn't see it. But I
have it, but I'm going to watch it.
He gave you credit about it. He said that you were very instrumental, and he talked about the record pool and stuff like that, and how it was very instrumental in propagating Latin music here in Chicago. And and he gave he talked about like my role in the Latin scene here in Chicago was different from what he did. But in truthfulness, I think Chicago needed that both my role in what I did and what the record pool did. He attacked it from this side, I attacked it from this side. And I think that and probably the same thing happened with you when it came to Houston, because even though you had the music, you had to attack it from this way. So you attacked it remixing, producing, and doing all those other aspects of how to propagate the music.
And I wasn't the only one here in Houston. They were all
right.
They were all I collaborated with everybody. I collaborated with promoters that would put me to work at the Jones Plaza in downtown for 8 years. I was the DJ there at Jones Plaza, but it helped me because I was in the business of booking artists and all, because I had access to the artists. And so that gave me the opportunity to book a bunch of groups in the plaza. I made money at the plaza like crazy.
Right. Oh, well, so my question is, when you went into the Latin market, did you change your name from Alex C to DJ Cubanito? Is that how
I
it's?
did in
Okay.
1996.
Okay.
In 1996, uh, because you know what? You know why I changed my name from Alex C to DJ Cubanito?
Why?
Because all of a sudden there were 3 or 4 Alex C's in the city.
Oh.
And there was a guy, there's a guy that I'm not gonna say any names. He actually said, "Hey, I know a lot of people. Give me some of your cards. I'm gonna pass them out so you can get gigs." And then a club owner that I have worked for in Pasadena calls me on the phone. He goes, "Hey, there's a guy here that says that he's Alex C. He gave me one of your Energy 96.5 business card. He's here saying that it's you." So I had that situation. So not that person was not the only one. There was 2 other guys, Alex C. So I've done all this work, Angelo. I've done all this work in the city so that other cats can go get work.
Oh, I know.
They're me.
Trust me. I had people come up to me and tell me, "Hey, man, somebody's posing as DJ Prieto." Trust me. and obviously the guy is dark skin, dark everything. And he's, "Oh, I'm DJ Prieto." You know,
Right, right. Yeah, and you know, I wasn't really looking for limelight. I always was a kind of like a background guy. You know, I was behind the scene all the time. I wasn't looking for fame and glory in the front. So nobody knew what I looked like. You know, they hear me spinning the radio, but they didn't know what I look like. So anyway, dude, I said, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna change my name. And I picked DJ Cubanito.
I wonder why.
Exactly. I thought about it. You know, I thought about it. I said, I'm a big guy, so making the name Cubanito would be funny because such a big, large guy calling himself little, you know. And I thought about, to be honest, I thought about Juanito, DJ Juanito, in LA, and he had a lot of success with his records. So I said, I'm not gonna steal his name. Of course, I'm gonna come up with my name, but it's gonna be similar. So it's gonna have some sort of association, you know. Now, when I open my record pool, Angelo, guess what I call my record pool?
Well, you said Salsa Mania, right?
Salsa Mania. Salsa Mania. It's right here.
Yep.
Okay. So why did I call it Salsa Mania? Because it identified with something that was already successful. It identified with the record companies with something successful, my radio show. So I tagged from there. You know, back in those days, you didn't know about making a brand or anything like that. No. But I knew marketing. You know, I knew how to market myself. So I learned. That's one of the things that I learned when I was in New York. Branding. It wasn't called branding, but I knew it. And so I said, well, you know, let me identify with it. So the name Cubanito, I wanted to kind of have like a ring to it. Juanito, Cubanito, you know, and people would have to ask me, "Are you the guy who did the such and such?" No, I didn't do that record, but they would ask, you know. Right. So I said, I can't just go into the market. I have been producing and stuff, but nothing big. So I said, I just can't go and change my name and go into the market and make a big name for myself unless I produce. So I have to produce, and I have to come up with a big record, and I have to put it out there, and that's exactly what I did. So I did that.
Which record is that now?
This is 1991. I'm sorry. 1996. 1996.
Okay.
1996, Latin House Extravaganza, DJ Cubanito Dance on LME Records out of LA. A buddy of mine that we were working on promotions and all. He's always said, "Hey, if you ever do something, I'll put it out. I'll put it out." And Thump Records picked it up and eventually distributed by Universal, sold like 40,000 copies right
Wow.
there then. But much, much, much later, it sold many, many, many hundreds of copies.
Right.
But that was the DJ Cubanito breakout.
Right.
That's why I changed my name and I did it with that. And
Well,
you know,
here's something I wanted to ask you because you mentioned about marketing and branding. I don't know if you ever did it, but I didn't know the same thing like you. I remember me and you talking for a long time, and I think me and you kind of had the same kind of growth and the same, just different places.
right?
But tell me, I remember when I first discovered marketing and branding, someone said, go out and get this book called Guerrilla Marketing. I remember it was the book. And I went to the record store to see this book called Guerrilla Marketing, right? And I bought it. You know, it was like, what, $26 book or something like that. It was, but I'm reading it and I'm like, all the shit I already know. What the hell?
We were already doing it. You know, it's the same with me. I got this book.
Okay, yes, I know the book. Yes.
So I read it back to back. Yeah, it cost like $30. And almost everything that was here, I already knew it already. But
Right.
I learned a few things. You always learn. You
Oh
always
yeah,
learn.
oh yeah, always. You know, that's just part of the process of being innovators, I guess, if you want to say it. You know, because a lot of stuff we didn't go to school for this.
You want to learn. You want to learn from people that are more successful than you are.
Right.
That's the way I learned.
Right.
But I mean, the people.
But we kind of did it organically. We did it by doing it, and nobody taught us how to do it. We just kind of like, okay, this is branding, this is marketing, and this is how, oh, this works this way. Oh, that doesn't work this way. And kind of like
trial and error.
Right. And that's it. That's what. So I'm sorry. I wanted, because you mentioned it about branding and marketing. So I wanted that. So the obvious question is Cubanito, because you're Cuban then, right?
Exactly.
So let's make sure we stay to this point where you're at in the business. But when did you come to the States here? How old were you then?
I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay. And you said you came to Miami.
Yeah, I came through Miami, but my father didn't want to stay in Miami.
Okay.
So we stayed a few days in Miami, and then we went to LA, and I was raised over there in LA.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was raised in LA until I was about 15 years old.
Okay.
Like 5 years. And then we moved to Tampa, Florida. And then from Tampa, Florida, we came here to Houston. But once I was, in Tampa, Florida, I had already dwelled in the DJ business. So I was helping out at a radio station over there. I had a mentor. His name is Carlos Jose Peralta. He was like the guy who taught me. And I would hang out, with him all the time. And everywhere he went, I went, all the gigs that he had. And then I started my own mobile DJ business, which was Tampa Super Sound. That was my mobile DJ name. And believe it or not, I had another DJ name. I went by the Boogeyman. I used to dress with a Panama hat or a fedora and like a disco vest and a nice fat tie. And I had a cane and usually took pictures with a big drink in my hand, I looked like a pimp, not a DJ. That was my image back then.
So it was Boogie, Boogie, right? Not Boogie like.
It was Boogie like you're boogieing, not the Boogeyman. But yeah, it was a play on words.
Okay, I got it.
And I partner up with this other guy. And if you think that my image was bad, you want to hear the whole name, the name of the whole team?
Okay, go
Let me
ahead.
just put it to you this way. He used to go DJ at the gigs wearing a Navy captain's cap, and he was the captain.
Okay.
So it was the captain and the boogeyman. Why he was the captain? Because the captain and Tennille were very hot at that point in
Okay.
time. Their songs were high, and he said, "I want to be the captain." He was copying the captain from the captain and Tennille.
Right. Okay. The things
I'm even ashamed to tell you the story.
things we did as kids.
I'm blushing.
Well, here, but I gotta guess the obvious question. Since you're from Cuba and you came here at 10 years old, were you able to keep any of the Cuban culture in the aspects of moving to Los Angeles? And were you
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
so that was mostly at the household, or did you
Yes.
okay, so
Absolutely. I never lost that. My father loved music. My mother loved music. My father loved big band, jazz. He's my influence. He taught me jazz, big bands. Then I started developing my own taste for funk and, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, Chicago, and rock. I mean, my musical taste was diverse. But my father, he loved jazz, New Orleans jazz, and big bands, and of course the Cuban stuff. I mean, I was listening to Benny Moré. I was listening to Las Charangas, La Orquesta Aragón. My dad and my mother loved to dance danzones from Arsenio Rodriguez, and I knew all that stuff.
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So that's what I was wondering, because I obviously, but that was your mom and dad's music, obviously, and
That was their music, but I liked it.
right, and that was what you heard growing up. But there was
I actually enjoy seeing them dancing and stuff at the parties,
But the unfortunate thing is that age, you didn't have a place to play it here in as far as the people you knew, they weren't playing it at clubs or you heard it at home, but you didn't get a chance to play it.
And house parties.
Right.
Now check this out. Check this out. When I was about, I guess I must have been 13. Yeah, 13. I had a record collection, 45s. Still have them.
Oh my God.
These are the originals from 13-year-old.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you, Angelo. You got to see this. What is this?
When was the last time you busted that out?
Let It Whip, dance band. And I mean, I got so many things here. Oh, it's just, I can go on forever with this.
Right. Oh my God.
But look, I had a record collection at that age. I had Bobby Sherman, the Partridge Family, Sugar, all those records, and the funk. So the kids in school, they knew I had the collection. So if they were having a party, they'd invite me. And I will be the nerd putting the 45s and playing it in the school little 45 little, those old-fashioned things.
Right.
So yeah, they would throw the parties and they would call me to do that. So I was the kid. I was invited to parties because I had the collection.
Oh, that's usually how, I think that's how we all kind of get that the first itch of being a
I love
DJ.
it.
So you got that was your first itch. You're like, oh, okay, that's it. That's what I want to do.
So in Tampa, when I left Tampa, came to Houston, I had a record that I love. I had a group that I loved that was called Slave. Slave? Remember Slave? They had I love the Commodores and all that, but Slave, man, that was like, I love that.
Party Lights.
Yes. and they had a song called, it was one of the unknown songs, but it was called Baby Sinister. So I call myself Baby Sinister, DJ Baby Sinister. And I came to Houston and I told Sam, and I said, what's your DJ name? Baby Sinister. And they would go, what? Baby sister? Babysitter? Babysitter? And I'm like, oh. So I thought about it. I said, let me just go with Alex C.
Okay.
Because Baby Sinister was not getting any respect.
No. So okay, so now you're doing the Latin scene now. You already had the record pool, and you kind of and so after the record, the big hit record behind you, where do you go into your career with this?
All right, so that was my calling card.
Okay.
And once I had a calling card and I had the connection with all the labels and everything, then I was looking for my first job, for my first paid job, because I didn't make a lot of money with that record. The label made all the money. I made myself a name. So anyway, the opportunity came with when I was doing promotions here in Houston for the artists of RMM Records.
Okay.
So I received a platinum record for promoting India.
Nice.
Right there. And then I received recognition for promoting Mark Anthony. And actually I was the DJ promoter that brought Mark Anthony to Houston for the first time ever.
What year was that at? What year was that?
92.
Okay, so he just started in the industry,
Yep.
right? Right. He just started. He had his first album. Is that correct?
Yes.
From RMM Records.
RMM Hasta Que Te Conocí.
Right, and then with RMM Records, the person that was connection here, I think, was Elena, right? Is that what you were talking about?
No, I was dealing with New York. I was dealing directly over there in New York with Ralph Mercado.
Okay.
And Vinny and all the guys that handle the national promotions.
No, I'm talking about the connection here in Chicago. Remember, you said you with Edgar, who you said there was a connection with that.
I didn't go through Elena.
Okay.
Yeah, I had direct. Not to. Hey, I know Ralph Mercado. I don't need Elena. No. It's not like that. But yeah, no, I didn't have to go through Elena because I had the connection with Ralph.
Right.
And believe me, I never talked to Ralph. I always talked to his underlings.
Right. I know that was.
Yeah, but I mean, they knew me because I was breaking records here. Everybody that they had came through my offices. From Oscar de Leon to Celia Cruz, everybody.
So you were basically because you were in the heart of the Midwest.
Yes.
And you were in the heart of the Midwest, and to have like India, Mark Anthony, all the Latin artists. I guess like if we talk about territories and what you call it, there's Chicago obviously, but in Texas you're it.
They were dropped on my lap. There was nobody else they could trust.
Right.
So I was the guy. And so the promoter from San Antonio, he lived in San Antonio. He was the rep here. He was an independent rep, not a salary rep, but an independent rep. And then later he became a rep. But this Puerto Rican cat, he would come over and he'd take me out to eat. We talk about what we're gonna do. I take him to all the clubs. We go visit all the DJs in the record pool. And I would play the music at this big club that I was at, which was Coco Loco, and we bring the artists there. So over there, we brought Mark Anthony for the first time. They gave me the best deal that I could have. I paid $4,000.
Whoa, that's crazy.
For the whole band.
Wow.
but let me tell you, people didn't even know who Mark Anthony was.
No, I get it. I get it. Very,
You know how
very
many
much.
people? You know how many people I had that night? We lost our asses.
I,
It was a-
I'm gonna say less than 100.
not that bad. We had 250 something, but
Okay.
it was a club that holds 1,000 people. Let me put it to you this way: when we opened that club, that's a story that I want to tell you though. I don't want to jump around and stuff, but remember when I told you that I got married and
Okay.
I was gone for like 6 or 7 years? The owner, the owner of that club, one of the owners, his name was Rolly, and Rolly was a very good friend of mine. I used to play at all the Cuban parties, and he always had fun. He followed me everywhere. So he was young, same age as me, and so he said, Alex, one of these days I'm going to open a club, and when I open a club, I want you to be my DJ. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. So hey, I get married, and I haven't DJ for like 6 or 7 years. And Rolly calls me. He goes, dude, I just opened a club and I want you to come and work for me. What? Yeah, my dream came true. You got to come, you got to come. So I'm looking at my wife, I'm talking on the phone and I'm like, okay, I hope she's not listening. And, I said to her, I said, I got to tell, I said, listen, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. I'm not going to mess around. I'm loyal to you. I got this opportunity. I want to go play at this place. It's an old friend of mine. He's almost begging me to go and play at this club. There were other guys that were lined up, because it's a huge club, 1,000 capacity, huge. Right. They were going to do big things, and they did, because look, well, I'm jumping, but she said, all right, go ahead. And she let me do it. So now I'm at Coco Loco. Okay, I have the record pool, and I'm at the top of the best club in town. Coco Loco just opened. There's only like 2 other clubs that are maybe equal, but that's it. That's the place. Everybody's going there. The night we open, Angelo, just to give you an idea, the night we open with Pochi Sukoko Band.
Whoa.
Pochi Sukoko Band. That record, I got a whole record from Pochi Sukoko Band right there. The night we opened, we had 1,200 people.
Woof.
And he had to stay because there was 500 people outside that couldn't see him. So we did Friday. It was the night that we presented a show. We did Pochi Sukoko Band, 1,200 people. Nobody else could get in. Can you stay for another night? Yeah, sure. Boom. Another 1,000 people more. Capacity again. We couldn't get everybody in on Saturday night because the people that didn't go to the grand opening on Friday, they were planning on going on Saturday with no band. But then Pochi Sukoko Band was there, so they got to see Pochi Sukoko Band.
Oh, that would have been too bad. There was no video footage of that.
Oh my God, they made so much money. So to make things even worse for the people who already paid $30 to see Pochi Sukoko Band, the owner says, "Hey, can you stay one more night?" Because we had a lot of Dominicans. They had a lot of Dominicans. They loved it. They had such a good time, So the owner, Cuban guy, he said, "Man, we made so much money. We made so much money. I'm gonna pay you one more night, but we're not gonna charge at the door. It's gonna be free for everybody that didn't see Pochi Sukoko Band. If you want to see him again, you can come." Sunday night we had over 800 people.
Oh wow!
Free.
That was. I mean, he must have made really good money.
He did. I mean, he made a killing. Now, mind you, back in those days, people still went out in suits and ties.
Oh yes,
They bought
absolutely.
bottles. They bought bottles. They sat with 2 or 3 bottles on the table. Those were the days. So anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, all all the groups and stuff. You know, everybody that I was working with, I always gave everybody a chance. I brought new unknown Mark Anthony. We lost money with Mark Anthony because nobody knew who he was. He wasn't even playing on the radio. He's just playing in the clubs.
Right.
You know, but we just brought him too early. We should have brought him like a year later, but then it would have been more money and stuff. So the offer was there, and I said, hell yeah, let's bring him, because I knew that Mark Anthony was going to be huge. I just had that gut feeling, you know, that you get when you see an artist and you know that the label is pushing it and putting money into it, and you see what type of artist he is. I knew he was going to be huge. Just like La India, I knew that she was going to be huge.
Well, it's funny because the India and Mark Anthony were in dance music before they were into Latin music out of
And
New
we
York.
knew them, and we knew them.
Right. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, you know, I like George.
Listen, I hung out with La India when she was with Warner Brothers. I was in a club hanging out with her in New York. You remember Red Zone?
Yeah.
That night, Yaya was there. Benji was there, and what's the other guy from DJ International?
There would have been Martin Boogeyman or
Martin was
Jones.
there. Martin was there.
Rocky Jones.
Rocky Jones.
Yeah.
They were all there, man. We were having a blast. And I was with La India. She had just had that hit with Jelly Bean, Dancing on Fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember it vividly because I was hanging out with her, you know, hey, thank you for supporting my record. Dennis Wheeler, I don't know if you remember Dennis Wheeler, but he was with Warner Brothers.
Yes.
He introduced me to La India that night. He goes, hey, here's La India. You guys want to hang out? Because I got to go do something else. I think he was like, he had a love interest or something. And he didn't want to take care of La India anymore, but he knew me and he knew that was okay. You know, I wasn't going to attack her or anything like that. So I hung out with La India, and then she lost her purse. She lost her purse.
Well, I mean, I think that's what people don't understand, that even though these artists, Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, I could go in, Julio Iglesias, not Julio, his son, Enrique Iglesias, we all knew these people, and to us, they're regular people because
they all go to the bathroom just like you and me.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny because we kind of know them on the opposite end. We know them like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Hey, like having a drink with us and having us, I'm gonna go outside and smoke. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Now, La India doesn't like people that she's not like real tight to call her by her real name.
Right.
So if you call her Linda, she knows that's her name, but she doesn't like it. She'll look at you like, I'm India. I'm not Linda.
So, I mean, but that's
don't be too confianzudo, you know, because I warn you.
No, I mean, it's like for instance, George Lamont. George and I have known each other for a long time. I mean, we hang out, and and I don't know if you've seen, I brought him to Alhambra to do a salsa set. Even though I wanted him to do a salsa set because I told that, and even Gary Sipich is the one who worked out that deal with me. And I says, man, I know you've been doing freestyle. Freestyle's still big on you and all that, but this resurgence of Latin music is starting to happen big. So I would really like to, and obviously the music director for that was Carlos Santiago, which was his music director back when he came here, almost 18 years ago. And I was, and George and I, to this day, he texts me all the time. He goes, "Oh, what's that brandy you gave me? What's that brandy?" Because he loves his brandy, and that's the kind of camaraderie I think we've always had with these artists, because we knew them before they were famous. Let's be honest with you.
And when he was dwelling into salsa and all that, my friend Baron Lopez
Yes.
whom you know also. He's the
Yep.
greatest guy, the greatest guy. He's just like you, a really good friend. He said, "Hey, I'm working on a remix for George Lamont. Can you want to do the dance remix?" I said, "Yeah, of course, I'll do the dance remix." And so they commissioned us the dance mix. The guys behind that project were Tony from TKA
Mhm.
and Robert Clavillis from CNC Music Factory.
Right.
So all friends. We're all friends, and they told me about it. I said, "Hell yeah, I'd love to do a dance remix." It has, to this day, it has not come out. It has not come out.
Why?
And the mix that Baron Lopez did, it has not come out. I'm talking about good stuff, Angel. Good stuff.
Well,
Because by that,
who has the copy? Is it George have it? Because I'll tell George to send it to
George
me.
doesn't have it.
That's what I
Doesn't have
thought.
it.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
George doesn't have it. So by the time we did his remixes and all that, we have been already doing remixes for big names, so
Right.
we had the experience. After this came this.
I was going to say that Jocelyn Enriquez, right?
Jocelyn Enriquez. This is When I Get Close to You.
Yeah.
When I Get Close to You. So I got 2 mixes on this record for Tommy Boy Records. A friend of mine worked at this label, and he hooked me up with a remix. And the other remixes were done by Thunderpuss. So this record went #1 on Billboard. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. It's
Yeah.
a little hard, but I remember the remix.
And that continued opening the doors, for other stuff. I've done a lot of work for Monster Taxi and his label,
Yes.
Toy Records, Toy Robot Records. Several things. This is one of the ones that I did for him. Don Manuel, Figaro. This was an underground record that did really well. He calls my remixes. He calls me up on the phone. Jason does. He's a producer too, but he calls me up on the phone and he says, "Hey, I got this new song. I want you to do one of your pots and pans mixes." That's what he says. Sounds like pots and pans to him.
But that's what you're currently doing now, right? You're doing a lot of more of the remixing aspect of it in this business, correct?
Yeah, I mean, lately it's been a combination with Salsa Mania Promotions. I promote a lot of Latin artists, a lot of new artists. Like 2 or 3 years back, it was a lot bigger than it is right now. It's slowed down a little bit, and even more with the conditions that we're having right now.
Right.
But there was a point where we were getting, how it is with remixers. You get to be the flavor of the day, and then they start giving you, Pablo Flores. He did all the Gloria Estefan. He did Madonna. He did, all those, and then he kind of faded away. Then came Byron Brizuela. Then came Dennis de Menes. Then, many different people, and then it was my turn, So my team, we did remixes for Juanes. We did remixes for ¿cómo se llama el tipo este? Well, we did remixes for Gloria Trevi, for Paulina Rubio, several, not just one, but like 2 or 3 for Paulina and for Gloria Trevi. And then David Bisbach, Mark Anthony. We did remixes for Ricky Martin. Many artists, the biggest names. we did the remixes, and then we started getting acclamation from the DJs that played them, and when you start getting the support from the DJs, that's when you know that you're doing good work. Because if they don't play it and they're not looking for your remixes, you're not the type of mix that they would like to play.
Well, here I guess, I mean, you currently send me remixes all the time. You're always going to send
Yeah.
me remixes and stuff like that. And then, I have a reach out there of 1,000
Right.
DJs. I honestly, I mean, if you see these interviews, a lot of them are DJs, and a lot of them have been doing this for quite a while, and some of these are the brand new guys, and so I have that reach, and my reach has been very good because I'm dealing with both Latin as well as dance, alternative, the retro guys, the rave guys, the underground guys, you name it. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, is there like an email, or do they contact you on a website or something like that?
I have a Facebook account.
Okay.
It's under Alex Carmenates.
Okay.
Alex Carmenates. That's my Facebook account. They can reach me through there. I also use WhatsApp. I also use Instagram. It's all under the same name, Alex Carmenates.
Okay.
And it's my phone number. All you got to do is search for me, and it's there. As a matter of fact, on my Facebook page, there's my phone number there, and also my email. My email is dj-cubanito@hotmail.com.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because at this point we're averaging about 4,500 views for these interviews, and trust me, it's getting everywhere. And the show has become a big. I guess it's becoming great because it's telling a lot of history about the music scene, and
Right.
and pretty much and the reaches that it does.
You hit a chord.
Right, and how Chicago dance music has reached not just Chicago,
Right.
like you're a perfect example.
Exactly.
So it's almost like the DNA tree. It goes one there, and all of a sudden here it goes. It branched out, and I think that's cool because we know there's a big branch out of New York, out of Miami, out of Houston, out of Los Angeles, out of Atlanta, Washington. I guess the biggest surprise for me was Kentucky. That was that was kind of a surprise to me. But
it kind of grabs you by surprise. But I'm not surprised, man. I am not surprised. People think that music was only New York and Chicago. I got a big surprise for you. The same music that Frankie Knuckles was playing in Chicago, there was cats playing it here in Houston. The same exact thing. New York, Larry Levan, all those records that Larry Levan played at Paradise Garage, there's people playing it here in Houston. There's people playing it in Tampa. You always have someone, because unless the music that Larry Levan was playing was from the planet Mars, we had access to it. We had access to it. I mean, we had 2 import stores here in Houston.
Right.
That Sam Myers was one of the owners. So we had access to all the Italo European records, all those imports. I used to spend between $200 and $300 every month buying imports, even though I was in the pool and I got everything, Right. I was getting all the freestyle. I was getting all the new wave. I was getting all the weird stuff, all the hip hop, as they were coming out, and you played it. But you also went to the store and you bought those. I didn't know that Frankie Knuckles was playing it. I just heard the record and I liked it. Took it, bought it, played it. It turns out it's a big record for Frankie Knuckles in Chicago.
Right.
So, I mean, it's true. The music that you guys were making, I was not making it. I was playing it.
Right.
I was playing. So in a way, I mean, until you're a producer, yeah, you're not at that level. But but DJ wise, you're at the same level, man.
Yeah. Right.
Got some guys here that were like my schooling. They were fantastic DJs, better DJs than Frankie Knuckles, and actually better DJs than Larry Levan, who didn't mix. You know, but you know, you got to give them credit. You know, you
Yep.
got to give them credit because they did what they did. You know,
But
but
I was going to say, but
we never got credit, Angela. We never got credit for that. You know,
no,
it's
no.
okay.
So yeah, I know. I agree with you, and that's okay. You know, I think our credit is by the actions that happen because of what we've done. That's kind of what we could,
So
you
it
know.
is what it is. I'm not
Right,
going to say. I'm not going to. What do you say when they give you? You're not going to look at the horse's teeth, right?
right. Well, here, I gotta honestly say something that, you know, something happened to me last year and I was very thankful. So I've been working with the Chicago Salsa Congress for the past 19 years, doing, perpetrating you know, the marketing for salsa here. And they awarded me the Keeper of the Flame Award last year in 2019. And I was very honored.
Congratulations.
I was very honored by them because basically they acknowledged the fact that I've been keeping salsa alive. I mean, you know, doing 5 nights a week here in Chicago, technically, because the unfortunate thing is that and as I explained to everybody, there's no radio station for Latin music here. There
No,
isn't.
that's you got.
So,
I mean, the job that you are doing is a great job because to have the kind of scene that you have in Chicago and not have radio supported, I always wonder how you did it.
well, I think in technical terms, it's helped me
Right.
because I am the radio station for these people. You know, that's kind of the whole thing. You know, it kind of like people who wanted to hear salsa. You know, and trust me, because of my success, you know, and we talk about this all the time with owners. I go, look at how can you compete with on a Saturday night, 18 places doing salsa night, right? 18 places doing salsa night, and I says, but on a Tuesday, I'm it. I'm the only one. That's it. You know, that's why I'm doing successful. On a Wednesday, I had the Drake Hotel. Look at the Drake Hotel. Beautiful, beautiful Drake Hotel. Let's be honest. The Hilton, you know, it's, you know, to have the places that I have doing salsa nights, whereas on a Friday and Saturday, let's be honest with you, you can have a lounge doing a salsa night, and then you have a restaurant doing a salsa night. You don't have that 1,000 people nightclubs doing salsa nights anymore because for them, they're looking for the bigger numbers. And if you have 18 places doing salsa, guess what? 18 choices are going to go like this with the
Right.
people.
Right.
Maybe 100 there, 100 there, 100 there. And yes, salsa
You
is big.
splinter it.
Yeah, exactly. So I get this whole scene and stuff like that as far as Chicago.
It's the same here in Houston, believe it or not. You know, you got the club DJs playing the music, but you got the radio station playing the music that we were playing 20 years ago.
Right. Well, but see, I was going to ask you a question because I know there was a bit resurgent, or not a resurgence, should I say? Dance schools became big over there in the past.
That's what's helping it.
Right. So that's what I was going to say because I know a couple people from Chicago that went to in the dance scene that went to Houston.
That's what's helping it. That's it. That's actually what's helping, like the congresos and all that. Because to be honest with you, the kids now they just want to listen to reggaeton.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to dance to reggaeton. But there's some youth that love salsa. Thank goodness, because those are the guys in the Congreso. You got 1,000 people there, you know, in each city. Over here, we have like 1,000 people.
Are you involved with the congresses out there?
Nope.
Got to get involved with them, man. Got to get no. Honestly, I have a great relationship with them.
You know what it is? You know what it is? There's some buddies of mine that are there, and they're very jealous. And it's a very close thing, you know? So, Angelo, you know that I've been very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at the end of my career. Right now, I don't want to make any waves.
Right.
I'm not in a competitive move. I'm in a complacent move. If you're doing good, I love it. I love it. I love for you to do good because I've already done good. I mean, look, man. Look at all the awards. National DJ of the Year 2 times in a row.
Nice.
Three more in the back. Mexico, even in Mexico, I get awards. Travel all over the world, man. So these cats are coming up, you know? And if all they got is the Congress, I'm not going to go there and take that away.
Well,
I'm not selfish.
Well, no. Here, it's since you mentioned that. That's funny. You mentioned that. So at the Salsa Congress, I told the Congress people, I do not want to DJ in the Congress rooms. I don't. I didn't. I told, let the new guys be the ones which got. I have a booth that I do my marketing and do my what I already have existed, because and exactly what I tell all the Congress people, Rosita and Saladin, I said, listen, you do an event once a year. I do events 52 weeks a year.
Exactly.
I said, I am not your competition.
That's all they have.
But I said, I'm not your competition. In fact, all you do for me is you create new clientele for me in the 51 weeks that I'm doing what I'm doing.
So that's what I work with them. I'm willing to work with them, work with anybody. I have one of the DJs that plays at the Congreso here in Houston, and he released a record. Y lo iban a ensartar with, because he wanted a vinyl record, he wanted a red vinyl record, and I think he was going to have to sell the records for $200 a piece. And I said, dude, I got a place. And he got his red vinyl, and he made over 1,000 records, and he paid $1 a vinyl. So he was selling them as, you know, autographing at like $25. That's fine. He can sell it for whatever. He paid $1 because I helped him achieve that. So he's an up-and-coming DJ. He's really good. I love the way he plays, and I knew that he was doing that. So I helped him out, and you know, I helped the new generation, bro. I'm not ready to hang the gloves. The gloves. But, you know, give a chance to the new kids, man.
Right. That's, you know, and if you ever see my interviews, I talk about how I had open DJ night for my events that I did and stuff like that. I was trying to bring in new people and stuff like that. And I think that's what makes somebody successful, is that you open the doors for a lot of people. And, you know, and our success isn't just because of what we do. It's surrounding yourself around a lot of different things and different aspects and stuff like that. And so I know it's about almost going about an hour and a half into the interview. We had a lot of people signing on, and obviously, you know, people going to probably want to contact you as well. Anything you want to say to the people who logged on?
Well, I'm totally open to any questions that anybody has. I've always been transparent. You know, I love interviews. I love talking about the industry, and I love forging new friendships, and just collaborating with everybody. You know, people have to realize though that, you know, it's a business.
Yeah.
And as much as we like music and love music, it's a business. We make a living doing this. So I'm never going to ask you to do something for free. Now, of course, this interview is something that you're doing for free, but that's another thing.
Right.
But, you know, I want to have the respect of the people, you know, because working for free, I wouldn't ask anybody to do. If anybody wants to approach me and they want to do a collaboration, whatever, you know, they have to know that this is what we do for a living, you know, and I'm willing to help anybody. And I have in the past. You thrown business towards me from people in Chicago, singers that I have worked with.
Right.
And I've always fixed it so they were able to do it and help them as much as I could.
Right.
But I never did it for free because, come on, you can't work for free. You can't work for free. So people got to know that. just because I'm saying, yeah, I'm willing to help and all that. Hey, you know, an artist that wants to talk about doing remixes or promotion, whatever it is, they have to have a budget.
Yep, that's true.
Because if you don't have a budget, you have to remember, what does it say here?
Yep,
It says promotions, right?
yep.
It doesn't say investments.
Right, I agree. Well, you know, something I forgot to talk to you about, because you were very instrumental in bringing in, helping me bring in a Cuban DJ to Chicago.
There you go. There's another guy that I love.
Mhm. And the reason why, you know, I've been doing Cuban events here in Chicago for the past 6 years. And the Cuban community has, or should I say, the Cuban, the love of Cuban music has gotten so big here in Chicago. Yep, Burna Jam. That's it.
He's my bud, and he's good.
Yes, he's phenomenal.
Well, you have not had, have you had a chance to listen to Baron Lopez? You never had him over there.
No, I know. It's, you know, I've communicated with him and stuff like that. So
Okay.
trust me, you know, there's a lot of people I communicate with, but you know, timing is about everything. You know, especially now with this whole thing, this kind of kiboshed everything. But my question was to you, and it's good. Before we leave, I wanted to talk about the Cuban music, and I seen the resurgence of Cuban music here in Chicago. Getting bigger, and I wanted your take on it, because you are Cuban, and how that's affecting music for you out there in Houston. How's that the timba and all that stuff that's
Look,
happening?
bro, let me tell you. Let me show you something. These are all the magazines that I work for. I'm currently working for DJ Times.
Nice.
DMA magazine. I had a column on DMA magazine. You don't even understand how many articles I wrote about Cuban music. This is a national American magazine. I had the Latin Rhythms column on a National Dance Music Authority magazine. Promo only. Radio y Música. I started with Puerto Rico, Farandula. And I ended up having my own magazine called Ritmo Latino. During all this time, Angelo, you know how much I've written about Cuban music? A lot. I'm not talking about no resurgence. I'm talking about 15, 20 years back,
Okay.
when I had the opportunity to have a voice in national publications like those. Always wrote about all the Cuban stuff, to the point where I became known for doing that. And so the music that nobody knew because of the embargo, but
Yes.
that music was coming out through Italy, it was coming out through Germany, it was coming to
Right.
UK, Spain, all those people over there. And I made the connection, obviously, because I wanted to have the music. That's the only way I could get the music. But I wrote about the music, and because I wrote about the music, they sent me the music to review it. It was kind of like the way I could have access to the music. So, you know, I've been promoting and supporting Cuban music for 20 years. You know, to the point where I know where Sergio George got his style from, or Isidro Infante, or Anandi Montañez, or Oscar de Leon. Mira, that's where he got it. You know, stuff like that, because we can recognize it. So
No. In fact, Tito Puente Jr. I give, and I even remarked on his interview, but I remember this. So he's been with me 7 years straight, performing every year. And Tito Puente Jr. And I remember this collaboration of the music that was happening. And probably about 3 years ago, he made an announcement. This is music at the Cubano. And I'm like, finally.
He liked it. Yeah.
Finally, and I guess that's where it
Well,
made me
because he's in Miami now, so he's
right,
getting that flavor over there.
right,
In New York, you hardly get that flavor. It's the New York scene.
right. And I guess maybe that's what just like you said, you had to go to Italy and stuff like that, but now the access is much easier now.
Much easier because of the internet.
Right, and we're seeing the Cuban. So and the comments that I get from my customers now that who've been following me for 20 years, 20 plus years, they're for them Cuban music is brand new for them, but that sound is brand new for them as well.
Right.
And
well, let me put it to you this way. 10 years ago, there's a label in California called Ainama. And Ainama was the only label in the United States that had permission to work with Cubans through EGREM and the government. And he signed Isaac Delgado, he signed Bamboleo, Arte Mixto, and a couple of other groups. I did the remix for Bamboleo 10, 15 years ago, Bamboleo. I did a remix for Isaac Delgado that got him a Grammy. Pregón de Chocolate. And so, dude, I've been working with these guys. When La Buena Vista Social Club came to the United States, I went to the concerts with them. I was there with them because I interviewed them and did all kinds of things with them. If you go back to DMA magazine, you see all the pictures, all the spreads, Sosa Vista. I loved it. The Cuban sound, the timba, all that stuff. It's just, I'm Cuban, and I love it.
Well, I mean, and I love it too, because to me, there's so much, I mean, and even today, the music that's coming out of Cuba right now, and seeing the groups that are coming out, we're very fortunate because, I've had some artists and working with some of the guys here. I was at the House of Blues with a couple of the artists from Cuba as well, and then doing I'm very blessed to say that. So, yep.
Some of the new Cubans I'm listening to stuff right now here in the office. I go through these CDs over here, and I'm listening to as I work.
Right, and and what got my interest. I don't think, Alex, you know about this yet, but about 7 years ago, I had a phone call through Facebook. One of the guys, Joseph Joshua, he called me up and he says, "Hey, are you related to a musician from Arsenio Rodriguez's band? His name is Sergio Prieto." And at the time, I was like, "I don't know who that is. I'm not related to any Cubans. I don't know." Wow, was I wrong?
No way.
Yeah. So in 2017, I did the 23andMe, and I did the whole DNA thing. And on late 2017, I discovered that I have family in Cuba.
What?
Yeah, we back in the 1825s to 1845s, 5 brothers, the Prieto brothers, we were tobacco merchants.
No way.
And we had all the port towns from Spain. They came in New Orleans, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Basa Santiago, which is Brownsville, as you know now, Basa Santiago. And I have a huge family in Cuba. And yes, anybody, and the ironic thing
is so neat.
And the ironic thing is, anybody with the last name Prieto, we're related. We are related. So any of the Cubans that the Prieto, they are my.
There's a guy here, Adain Prieto, that I did his wedding here in Houston. He liked me a lot, and then they contracted me to do his sister's Prieto, Adai Prieto, that's his name.
And I have a huge family in Texas. Huge family. Huge.
You might be related to this guy.
Oh, no. Trust me. With the last name Prieto, we are related. Because Prieto is not a very common.
No, it's not. It's like Carmenates. We're not. There are a lot of people Carmenates.
And because I did it, I'm in contact with 420 of my relatives.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's huge. But with the Prieto aspect of Prieto, I'm in contact with maybe about 30 Prietos from my second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth and seventh cousins as well. So I'm in contact with everybody, and the whole branch is huge on my side. So it's big.
Let me tell you, I also have Prietos in my family too.
Really?
Yeah, because they say that in Cuba, si no tienes en tu sangre, si no tienes de negro, tienes de Carabalí. So, yo sé que tengo algún Prieto en mi familia.
All right. So what's hilarious. So my teacher, I told you about my teacher, Edson de Cuba, right, Edson? So his mom, I don't know how this conversation came up, and he goes, and she asked him, obviously she speaks only in Spanish, but she asked him, she goes, "Is that his last name, Prieto?" And she's like, "Yeah." So when he went back to Cuba, he goes, "Oh, I want to introduce you to your uncle. His family's, or I guess they are Prietos as well." So he was like, "Dude, I think we're related." Yes.
Unbelievable.
But like I said, in 1825 to 1845, his name is Don Francisco Prieto. He had a family in New Orleans, and obviously because they're port towns, they created families in the other towns. Havana, in Havana, there was other, he wasn't the most faithful Prieto, let's be the truth and stuff like that. But he had a family, and there's records that show that they had back and forth. They were going from New Orleans to Cuba with Christmas letters and stuff like that. Their huge family in Cuba with Prietos.
So you know the debate where salsa started, and my final thing, because that's such a big debate. My final thing, where does salsa start? Well, salsa is a concept. Salsa is not it's not the music. Salsa is a marketing concept that started with Fania All Star in New York.
Well, according to so this is the record. This is what I understood. Salsa is the umbrella term of what the music was that they were trying to explain in the Palladium. And
exactly.
A Jewish promoter it was in an interview, and he was trying to say the music that was playing is son matuno,
yes,
cha-cha-cha,
yes.
And he said, it's un música de salsa. That's what he was, it was un salsa de música. And so that was the term salsa became.
But let me tell you, when I worked for DMA magazine, I wrote a big article, a big spread with the origin of salsa. And just recently, I was interviewed at a radio station. They wanted to know the beginnings of salsa. And I can tell you that salsa, as we know it today, it started out in Santiago de Cuba, yeah, Chogui, with certain instruments, son montuno. Then they took some of the army people to Havana. They mixed them up. They got the guaguancó from Havana, the son montuno together. That's how it all started. I mean, there's a lot more to that, but the roots definitely Cuba.
Well, no, they tell the story of Arsenio Rodriguez. So this is no. This is the story is that he's playing, right? He's blind. He's playing the guitar, and then the breakdown would happen, and he would yell out "Diablo," and the church, after a couple of times of him doing that, they said, "Okay, you can't be doing that because it's not appropriate, right?" So he decided to change his to Diablo. He decided to yell out "Mambo," and that's how he came up with the word "mambo," and that's that's the story of Arsenio Rodriguez doing his music.
So don't get me started, because I'll go to the other room and get all my notes. Listen,
But I mean,
I have written about the origin of salsa. I have debated it. I have debated it with people from New York. I have debated from people from Puerto Rico who swear salsa is from Puerto Rico. Venezuelans who swear the salsa is from Venezuela. Colombians that swear the salsa is from Colombia. And some hot Japanese guys that say, no, salsa, it's from here. So trust me. But I did one thing. I don't go by what this guy says or this guy says. I went to Cuba. And I was in Cuba and I talked to the people over there, and I went to talk to people who took me to the Conservatory of Music in Cuba, where they have the entire history, did the research, had another friend of mine that gave me a lot of stuff. Israel Cantor, who went to the Conservatory of Music in Cuba and was one of the biggest salsa guys, soneros from Cuba. He died of a heart attack, unfortunately. Before he died, I had several conversations with him. He's the one who invited me to Cuba. Anyway, bro, you know perfectly well that is tropical music, whatever, danzón, cha-cha-cha, guaguancó. You know that's what encompasses salsa.
Right.
And nobody's gonna tell me that no, because in New York, okay, Tito Puente, of course. Several people, I mean, Willie Colon, everybody, you gotta give credit to all those cats. But they tell me, no, because we were the first one here in New York that included saxophone and trombone. Mentira. Benny Moré, you look at the band, you look at the videos, he had a 17-piece band. He put in piano, he put in 3 trombones. Willie Colon, we were the first ones to put 3 trombones in salsa. Bull. Benny Moré had done it in the 50s.
Yes, I know.
Come on, man.
I know. And it's funny because my the hilarious part is that my great grandfather came to Chicago in 1926, but it was funny because my great uncle, who just passed away a month ago, I was there at the wake, and his one of his favorite songs was a Benny Moore song. And I didn't know this. Because obviously I was too young to know this and stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh, the Benny Moore, it's like his favorite." And my great uncle was playing the maracas, and he had the clave sticks, and I seen the clave sticks in the maracas there. I'm not like, "Whose is that?" He goes, "Oh, that's your uncle. That's your Uncle Art's stuff." I go, "What?" He goes, "Oh yeah, that's what he loved. He loved playing the instruments." And I didn't realize. I guess that's what they did as a family.
Wow.
Play the instruments and listen to the music and stuff like that. So I was like, "Oh, okay, now I know where I got it from." It was ingrown into me and stuff like that. So and then finding this out about the Cuban connection and stuff like that. So I was like, "Oh, okay, now I get it, why I am who I am today." So
it's in your roots. It's your DNA.
Yep. Well, otherwise, thank you very much, Alex, for this interview. It was fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of good times.
My pleasure, man. It's lovely to have participated with you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody that joined in, obviously, you replay it. We're going to replay it as well. And thank you for joining. All right. See you guys.
See you guys. Take care.